Welcome, everybody. Let's talk about the best thing for 20-year-olds, how to invest for young people. I'm not going to discuss my exact age, but let's just say that I'm in I'm in the older crowd. Okay, I'm not in my 20s. I'm much older. And I can look back on my life and say and look back and see some areas where I did really good and some areas where I could have done a lot better. So that's great because I can share that experience with the younger generation and pass on to you some things I think that, especially for the young people, that really can make a huge difference for you later in life. Okay. So one of the big mistakes that I made as a young person was, I was a little bit too loose with my money. I made pretty good living because I was fortunate enough to have a decent career in software development. So I made pretty good money. And yes, I saved some of it and did that and invested and stuff like that. But I didn't realize that being really disciplined early in life is a difficult thing for young people. They want to spend that money, they want to have a good time, they want to do what they want to do. That includes buying homes, getting married, having kids, all that stuff. And all that's pretty good, actually, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then up and above that, I got to have the car, I got to have the boat, whatever else, right? I gotta buy the latest motorcycles. Back when I was young, I liked the motorcycle race, so I spent stupid money on motorcycle stuff. A lot of money on motorcycle. And some people can say, well, why shouldn't you? You should enjoy life while you can, while you're young. Well, let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with enjoying life, but you can do it without having to spend a lot of money, and that's the key. There are a lot of ways to have fun and enjoy life, but you don't have to spend a whole boatload of money to do it. Don't get caught up in thinking, I got to spend a lot of money to have fun. You have to be creative in life, and you can have a lot of fun just doing simple things like going fishing. Okay, go play some baseball, play basketball, whatever, play tennis, play golf. Okay, golf can be kind of expensive, but so there are other ways to go out and have fun and not spend hardly any money doing it. And you don't have to have the doggone newest brand new car either. There's nothing wrong with driving a used car. As long as it's reliable, keep the insurance cheap. So that's the cost side. You want to keep your costs down, bare minimum. Okay, that's number one. And then number two, for a job, when you're working a job, you want a job. And this is really, I want to get this to the youth. You got to get this part. This part's so great. This is the part that I messed up and I should have done a lot better job. Okay, I should have done better at understanding this. Later in life, I started to understand it better, but you want to get it when you're young. And that is, you want to get an employer that's has a 401k. All right? You absolutely want to find this. Ching! Should be right at the top of your list. And you want to make sure that not only they have a 401k, but they contribute. So employer, okay? I'll put here, shorthand it with an R. So it's not employee. Employer contributes, right? Really, really important. This is so critical to your future. I can't even begin to tell you how critical this is. This is like number one. This is it. You want to do the best thing that you can do in your life as a young person is find a job that has a 401k. Get your salary as high as you can. You want to negotiate the highest possible salary that you possibly can. So you're going to be looking for a lot of jobs, keep banging at it, keep going until you find the job that pays you the best you can. Meantime, whatever job you got, keep it, but look for the highest paying job that has a 401k where the employer contributes. And I mean that you want them contributing. Okay, they might contribute 3, 4, 5, 6%, something like this, sometimes higher. Okay. So, excuse me. So let's just say they contribute, I'm just going to throw around here, let's just say they contribute 5%. I'm just making it up. The employer is willing to contribute 5%. Okay, and you have to contribute 5%. You can contribute up to 5%. You want to make sure you do this. You 100% want to make sure you give your maximum contribution out of your salary. And I can just hear it right now, because I remember being young and thinking this. I'm not giving them my money. I'm not doing that. I need this money. I gotta go this weekend and I don't know, whatever. I got drinking buddies this weekend. We're gonna play pool. We're gonna whatever. Don't do that. Contribute maximum amount that you can, if it's 5%, 6%, 3%, whatever it is. Maximum amount that you can contribute. Maximum. And then they'll contribute their maximum. Sometimes you'll do 5, they do 3. Sometimes they might even do as much as 8, and they do, total of 8, maybe like whatever. You do 6%, they do, I don't know, maybe you do 4%, they do 4%, whatever it is. This is really, really important. This is the number one thing you can do as a young person. Because this you can do right away. Young people don't usually have a lot of money. So you want to find a way to get a lot of money and store it and save it. The 401k is absolutely 100% the best way to go with the employer contributing. Super, super important. You should be combing the jobs for this. You can even ask job recruiters. Get them to do the work for you. Go to a job recruiting company, get them online, call them, whatever, do emails, start exchanging emails, start talking to them, say you're looking for a job that has a 401k and the employer contributes. Make sure it's in an area of a job that you want to do or you have skills to do, right? Or willing to do. Now, why do you want to do this? It's obvious why, because you're getting free money from the employer, but the 401k, you can't touch it. You can't really withdraw out of this 401k easily without being penalized. So this forces you to save. For a young person, that's a big deal because everybody, when you're young, oh gosh, I got to impress my girlfriend this weekend or my boyfriend or whatever, right? So this 401k keeps you on track. So it does two things. You get the free money from the employer, you're putting yours in, they're putting theirs in, and you can't touch it. If you stay with this employer or move your 401k to another employer, which would normally go to an IRA, but we'll get it, that's a different video, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay? You want to stay with the employer that pays you 401k money. Absolutely. If you're there for 20 or 30 years, oh my gosh, your 401k is going to be huge, especially if it's a high-paying job. Okay? If it's not a high-paying job, stay there, look for a job that pays even more. And make sure it has a 401k and they contribute as good as this company or better. You got to do the math, right? You got to take the time to do the math. If they do, boom, go take the job. Don't feel bad about switching jobs that pays you more money and they do just as good or better than the 401k. You could switch it. Let's say it's the same pay, but they're contributing more than the 401k. Take the job. Take the new job. Let's say they contribute let's say they contribute a little bit less, but the pay is much higher. Then you do the math and you find out I'm still going to make more on my 401k because the salary is so much higher. So the overall contribution in dollar amounts is going to be higher than where you're at right now. So that's all the stuff you got to take the time and get your spreadsheet out, do it right. Don't be in a hurry, take a couple deep breaths, get it right. Okay, but this is huge. This is what you want to do, number one, as a young person. Okay, screenshot that. Okay, you can always pause the video and go back, right? Number two, on top of all the 401k, okay, sorry, within the 401k, so you're putting money in your 401k. Here's your 401k. 401k. This is it, right? This square. Got it? So inside this account, maybe it's at Charles Schwab, maybe it's at Fidelity, whoever, Morgan Stanley, I don't know, whoever's going to manage it, doesn't matter. You have this money in there, right? There's money in there, a bunch of money. You want to make sure that you self-invest in this 401k. Don't pick some cheesy fund. Would you like the, they're going to have funds like, would you like the, we're going to rip you off ETF fund? Or would you like the number B, we're going to rip you off fund? Yeah, don't go with these funds, man. Stay clear of that garbage. It is not the way to go. Okay, you want to self-manage that 401k. And nowadays, almost all 401ks and brokerages let you do that. Just tell them, put the money in there. Don't do anything with it. Don't invest it for me. Those are options you can do when you sign up for your 401k. You don't have to pick a fund. If they try to swindle you in there, just say no. Just leave the cash as is. I'll self-invest. Okay, why do you want to do that? Because you want to buy corporate bonds. Corporate bonds. Bing. Now, what I'm about to tell you next, a lot of people are going to shake their heads and disagree. I don't care. Listen to this older man because I know what I'm talking about. You want what's called speculative grade. Just hang with me. Speculative grade bonds. That's right, you heard me say it. Speculative grade. You're looking for speculative grade corporate bonds. Okay? That's a lower rated bond. So in a moment here, we'll look at the ratings. Okay, look at this bond right here. Here's S&P 500's rating. S&P, Standard & Poor's rating. They rate bonds. Here's Moody's. These are rating agencies. S&P and Moody's are rating agencies. Here, Moody's says it's a B2, and S&P says it's B-. Okay, this is called speculative grade, but they're not in default. The name of this particular, I actually bought this bond recently. The name of this bond, or the issuer, I should say, is QVC. Okay, and there's some other details here. All right. Look at the price of this bond. They were asking $58.50. Look at the yield to maturity, 11.3% return per year. This yield is on a yearly basis. This is over 11% return per year. Okay, so those that know about corporate bonds can say, dude, you're playing with fire. This is speculative grade. There's a reason why its yield to maturity is so high. There's a reason why the price is so low. Normally, par value would be 100. The price would be 100. Okay? But don't let the fear crowd keep you from making a lot of money, okay? You want speculative grade, and you don't want to really go below like B2. B2 is like the bottom. As low as you want to go. Above this would be B1, and then there's some A categories as you get into really high grade bonds. Okay. But you can go down as low as B2, generally speaking. Okay. And what are you looking for? You're looking for bonds that are priced below $100, like this one is. They're rated B2 or higher, preferably by both. This ratings are a little bit different, but that's okay. Moody's ratings, guys, by the way, are a little bit better than S&P if you want to know the truth. So stick with Moody's. Okay, but you're looking at both is fine. So you want bonds that are discounted, B2 or higher rating. The discount means they're less than $100. And your yield to maturity, like, right, that's going to be really good. You want this as high as you can get it. And you can sort by these bonds. When you go to your broker, as long as the broker sells bonds, and the big brokerage firms do, you can just sort by different things, right? You can sort by the rating, or you can sort by, I just sorted by yield to maturity when I looked for this bond. And then I went down the list, it was a big list of bonds, and I went down looking for the one that had good yield to maturity, that had a B2 or high rating. And my other caveat, my other requirement was, I wanted a maturity date, look at this maturity date, way out in the future. Look at this, 2043. Why? Because that's my retirement money. This thing's paying me over 11% per year. Now, the coupon rate here is, a lot of people don't understand about bonds. I'm actually only getting paid 5.95%. So people are saying, well, what's the difference between yield to maturity and this one? These bonds, when they originally came out at $100, they were paying 5.95%. But because the bond's discounted way down here now, the actual return is 11.3. Can be a little bit confusing. I'll let you do your research on yield to maturity versus coupon rate. But basically what this really means is, with the price being so discounted, you can buy more bonds with the same amount of money. And that's what I do. That's how you get your yield to maturity. Okay. You're able to buy more of these bonds because they're so discounted. So instead of buying just one, I actually bought 11 of these. 11 time bonds. I had the money for 11 of these bonds. And bond prices, if you want to know how this really works, this $58.50 really means $585. That's what it really means. Don't ask me why they do it that way. That's the way they do it. So that's what one bond would cost, $585. Yeah, about 11 of these. I had a few $1,000s laying around. Okay. But the 401k we talked about earlier is what gets you to the place where you can buy 11 bonds. Okay, you follow me? That's how you do it throughout your life. Every time you have enough money in your account, you go searching for the best bonds. You do this, you buy the best bond. Just let it sit there. For your younger crowd, that might be 2060, 2070, 2080, whatever it's going to be for you when you get older. Okay? Heck, some of you might be around the turn of the century, 2100. So what's going to happen when you're in your 20s, by the time you get to 50, you start when you're in your 20s, when you get to your 50s, bing, 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 you got a lot of that going on. And your bonds are just sitting there inside a 401k, making you huge money. And the benefit to being a 401k, does everybody know what the benefit of being the bonds being in a 401k is? No taxes, baby. At least not for now. You don't pay any taxes on this. So for 30 years, you don't pay any taxes, anything inside this 401k. And for young people, they're like, who cares about taxes? You're right. When you're young, it's not a big deal because the money amounts are small. When you get older in your 50s, taxes are going to be huge. And it becomes a real big deal real fast. And when your account's at $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $1 million or more, which is where you're going to be, the taxes on that kind of money are huge. And you got it in 401k, guess what? You don't have to pay taxes. Only time you'll pay taxes is when you start withdrawing. And by then, it doesn't matter. You're retired. You just pay your taxes a little bit every time you take out just what you need when you retire. You don't take it all out at once. Just take out what you need. For that year, if you need $50,000 to live that year, take out the $50K. You pay taxes on the $50K, you can go on to the next year. You live like, I don't want to say like live like a king, but you're going to live, you probably live like a king. Okay? So that is the name of the game. If you're in your 20s and you want to know a way to really have it going on by the time you hit your 50s and be retired, maybe even your 40s if you're really diligent, this is how you do it. Okay? I know because I do this. It took me a little later in life to do this, but this is what I do, and my account grew dramatically because of this approach. Okay? Remember, for a young person, you want a job that has a 401k that pays you as much biggest salary as you can get, and they contribute to your 401k, and you must contribute your maximum amount that's allowed into the 401k, and they'll contribute their maximum amount, and you're going to make a lot of money. Don't touch that 401k, no matter what. I don't care if there's an emergency on top of an emergency. You find another way to pay for it. But do not touch the 401k ever. All right? That's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Do this, and you're going to have a great life. Later.